We will learn a very important concept today. It's called a radian. So basically we're going to talk about angles and radian measures. That's a new thing, right? Okay. So what about the angles? Every time we talk about the angles, we know this. A point goes out two rays, and then these two rays form an angle. This is the angle we talk about. And then some angles are big, some angles are tiny, right? So we get to find how to measure that. And you probably have learned in your previous math class that this is a 90 degree. And every time we talk about a 90 degree, we know it looks like this. So we can use degree to measure the angle. And we learned this is 45 degree, right? So we know how to use the degree as the measurement to see how big the angle is, all right? Now, what about this? Let me ask you this. Usually when we put in this coordinate plane, this is the x, this is the y-axis, and here's the 0, 0, which is the origin. And then we always start from here. We always start from the positive side of the x-axis, okay? And then the positive angle goes anti-clockwise, the negative angle goes clockwise. Make sense? So if I want to show a 45 degree, then we're going to go starting from here and then go up by 45 degree. So this is a 45 degree. And if I want you to show me negative 45 degree, you're going to start from here and you're going to move clockwise 45 degree. So go from here 45 degree, but negative. You see the difference between these two? Okay, one is positive, one is negative, right? Okay, now keep going. Can you show me 90 degree? Yes, this is 90 degree. Okay. Can you show me starting from here all the way to here? So this angle is a 90 degree angle. Okay, like that. What about 180 degree? Again, you start from here, you go 90, another 90, you stopped here. So this is like a flat angle. Okay, so let me make this straight. So that's a flat angle, so that's 180 degree. If you go further, keep going by another 90 degree, you're going to be stopped here. That's a 270 degree. Now, I'm sorry that I have to show this. Ooh, goes like one full cycle around. That's a 360 degree, right? It's from 270 go another 90, so that's a 360 degree. Did you notice that go back to here, right? Yes. Okay, and you can keep going. And if you go like this, this angle, what is the degree? So you go 360, another 360. So this is a 720 degree. So the degree can be positive, can be negative, can be greater than 360, of course can be less than negative 360, can be any number. But don't forget, you have to have the little degree here, a little circle at the shoulder. Okay, and now I'm going to teach you a new way to measure an angle. So think about this. You have this, and start from here. This is that's your radius. Okay. Now I draw a circle with this radius. It's pretty good, okay? So this is the radius. And I want you to go along this curve or arc by the same distance like that. So that goes, so start from here to maybe here. Let's see. Okay. And that has the same length as R. So this R length is R. And how do you call this angle? 1. Isn't it interesting? Yeah? So now we can just measure the angle by how many radius this arc covers. So that's the angle 1. Angle 1. We call this measurement radian measures. Okay. Now, what about 360 degree? This is the measurement in degree, so which is from here to here, right? 360 degree. What is the measure in terms of radian? That means this is R. How many R's are here? And that is 2 pi R, isn't it? The length of this so-called arc is 2 pi R, or curve, 2 pi R. So what is the radian measurement? 2 pi. Therefore, we get a very important concept. 360 equals 2 pi. 360, this is in degree. And this is radian. So every time you deal with a degree, you might also want to know what is the measurement in terms of radian. Can you remember this? Okay. Of course, you can simplify this a little bit. Divided by 2 both sides. Therefore, 180 degree is the same as pi. You might think, oh, pi, I know pi. Pi is a 3.14 something. Correct. And we use that as the measure, radian measures of an angle. Okay, so keep this in mind, okay? 180 degree is the same as pi. Sounds good? Okay. Now, next one is important. We're going to learn how to convert. If you want to convert an angle measurement, an angle measurement from degree to radian. Let's see, something degree, okay, whatever number here. What you need to do is you do this, pi over 180 degree. Now this literally is 1 because the numerator and denominator are the same. So you're multiplying by 1 and your answer is going to be in radian. Okay, so here you don't forget you have a degree, and here you have a degree. One on top, one on bottom, it get cancelled. So your answer here has no degree. But if you want to convert from radian to degree, you have the radian measure, and then you're going to multiply by, you want a degree, so you put 100 degree on top, and then you put a pi at the bottom. You're multiplying by 1. This is literally it's 1. You're not changing the value of that. You're changing the look. So you're going to get something with a degree. That comes from here. Okay? So let's do some exercise. Let's do the first. Convert from degree to radian. 45 degree. Can you convert that? Can you convert 45 degree to radian? Okay. What I need to do is I'm going to multiply by pi over 180 degree. See? Told you this formula, right? I use red mark. And then the degree cancel, no more degree. So I have a 45 over 180, that many pi. And the 45, 180, they both divisible by 45. So that is 1 over 4 pi. Or you can say pi over 4. Done. From degree to radian. So you're going to say 45 degree equals pi over 4. That's your answer. Okay, after you do the conversion. Now next one, 225 degree. Again, same thing. Multiply by pi over 180 degree. And the good thing is there's no more degree. So you have 225 over 180. that many pi. Don't forget you still have this pi. And that's also divisible by 45. So you get a 5 over 4 pi. Okay, so 225 degree is the same as 5 over 4 pi. That's the answer. Okay, let's do one more. What about a 285 degree? That's multiplied by pi over 180 degree. And no more degree, so I put a 285 over 180, that many pi. And you might want to, you have to, not you might, you have to simplify this, but you might want to do that step by step because both numerator and denominator are divisible by 5. So this divided by 5, you get a 57. And this divided by 5, you get a 36. Okay? And a 57, 36, both are divisible by 3 because 5 plus 7 is 12, which is divisible by 3. So that divisible by 3, you get a 19. This divisible by 3, you get a 12. And 19 is a prime number, so you cannot do anything further. So it's going to be 19 over 12 pi. So 285 degree is the same as 19 over 12 pi. That's your answer. So you did the conversion. Okay? That's the exercise going this way. From a degree to radian. Let's do something about here, from radian to degree. Let me give you this one. Let me give you 19 pi over 12. This is the measure in terms of radian. And then when you want to convert that into degree, you want 180 degree on top because you want to keep that degree over pi. Okay, so this is the we call that conversion factor, whatever you want to call that. Okay, so now the good thing is a pi and a pi. Did you see that canceled out? So you have a 19 times 180 degree over 12. We deal with the number and then we keep the degree on top. So 12 and 18, both divisible by 12, so this is 15. And then 15 times 19, that is going to be 285. And don't forget, you have this degree there. Therefore, you get a 19 over 12 pi equals 285 degree. Now, did you see that these two are the same, right? So you know how to do the conversion forward, backward, from degree to radian, from radian to degree. All right, now let's do this. Do two more, okay. 3 pi. Can you convert this? Yeah. 3 pi multiplied by 180 degree over pi, which is, don't forget, that is gone, and then it's going to be 540 degree. Therefore, 3 pi, in terms of a radian measurement, is the same as 540 degree. Now, I'll give you a very interesting question. What about 5? Can you convert this into degree? Yeah, you can do that. So it's going to be 180 degree over pi, and that's going to be 5 times. Did you notice there's no pi? I just used this, okay, just a 5. So 5 times that is 900 over pi, that many degree. Okay, you don't have to do 900 divided by pi and use pi as a 3.14 something. This is good enough. Okay, what about 1? Do you remember what about 1? 1 multiplied by 180 degree over pi is just 180 over pi degree. Now, just out of curiosity, okay, 180 divided by 3.14, okay, I'm lazy, I don't want to do that, equal. Let's see what you have. You get somewhere around 57.3 degree. Did you notice that it's a slightly less than 60 degree? It's interesting, right? Yeah, because this is pi, right? So this is a 3.14. So 1 pi, or 1 is slightly less than 60 degree because the 3 of them is 180. Isn't it interesting? Now, a very interesting one. Let me give you the last one. Negative 2/3 pi. Can you convert this into degree? Again, you're going to multiply by, here's a pi, here's 180. All right, now pi and the pi canceled out. 3 and 180, you got a 60, times 2, you got 120. But don't forget, you have a negative, so that is negative 120 degree, which means negative 2/3 pi is the same as negative 120 degree. Okay, so now you should know very well how to do the conversion. All right, now I'm going to introduce you another interesting concept. It's called co-terminal angles. Co-terminal angles. Okay, what does that mean? Think about 30 degree. That's from here to here, right? Okay. Now, let me do one more thing, okay? I will ask you to do this, 390 degree. So it's going to be, see, 90, 180, 270, 360, and 30 more. So this is the 390 degree. You see, this little one is a 30, and this goes around one more and stop here. That's a 390. So we call this 30 degree and the 390 degree. They are co-terminal. Okay. If two angles are co-terminal, their difference must be 30, 390. What's the difference? Must be either 360 or 720, right? 720 means you go one side, one circle, two circle, and then 30 degree. So, or it's going to be n times a 360 degree. The difference between their measurement must be a multiple of 360 degree, or n times 2 pi. This is when you use the radian as the measurement. Okay. Okay. So now let me ask you this question: 30 degree and 210 degree. Are these two co-terminal? Here is a 30 degree. 210 is from here to here. That's 180, and another 30. So that is 210 degree. So they're not co-terminal because this terminal is here, this terminal is here. Even they stay on the straight line, but they're not co-terminal. So these two are not co-terminal. Okay. All right. And let me ask you this question: can you find an angle in 0 to 360 degree, 0 degree to 360 that is co-terminal with this guy, 4600 degree? It's a hard question, isn't it? Because this is huge. This is 4,600. That's like a lot of 360s. 136. How many 360s? Well, I don't know. Let's do a little calculation. I just want to find how many 360 degrees are in this 4600. So if I do 4600 divided by 360, wow, 12 of them. So 12.78. So let me just say this. There are 12 full circles. And then 12 times 360 degree. What is that? 12 times 360, it's a 4,320 degree. So for this 4600, if I can get rid of this 4320, because this just 12, you just go around 12 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Go there like 12 times. And then at the end, let's see what's the leftover. So 4600 degree minus 4320 degree, and the answer is 280 degree. 280 is this. 90, 180, 270, 280 is somewhere here. So it's like a 10 degree more here. Okay, so that's co-terminal with a 280 degree. That's your answer. Sounds interesting, isn't it? Yeah? Okay, let me ask you another question. What about same thing? Okay, find an angle. Let me just write it. Find an angle. Not edge. I always get confused. Angle. Find an angle, not an angel. Okay. Find an angle in 0 to 2 pi, because I only want that in the first cycle. That is co-terminal with what? With negative 4.3 pi. Wow, this is the measurement in radian. So if you want to get into a final number with that, you might have to add 2 pi, 2 pi, 2 pi. Let's see how many 2 pi's you need to add. I'm so glad this is not a terrible number. So I go negative 4.3 pi plus 2 pi. What is that? You get a negative 2.3 pi. Well, still not in that interval. So negative 2.3 pi plus 2 pi, which is negative 0.3 pi, is still not there. So I have to do one more time. Negative 0.3 pi plus 2 pi, which is 1.7 pi. Whew, that's good. This 1.7 pi is right here. So therefore, your answer is 1.7 pi. So this one explained that if you try to find the coterminal angle, you have to either keep adding or subtracting 360 degree or 2 pi until you get your final answer in this interval. Now, did you notice that here I didn't do that? Of course, if you want to do, you can do 4600 minus the 360, minus 360, minus 360. Keep subtracting 360 degree. But I already know that I have to subtract 12 of them by doing little calculation here. And I have to subtract 4,320 degree. So I just take a quick shortcut to get that. Okay. All right. So this is about the coterminal angle. And then the last part I want you to be very, very familiar with before we go to the actual trigonometry is to get familiar with the radian measurement, because I'm pretty sure that you're very familiar with like a degree, right? See, 90 degree, okay, and then 180 degree, 270 degree, and of course if we go all the way back, and that's a 360 degree, right? So you're familiar with this. But I ask you to be familiar with the pi, the radian measurement. So this is a pi, and here is a half pi. So from here to here is a pi over 2, or half pi. And here's 2 halves pi. What is 2 halves? That's just 1 pi. Okay. And I go one more, so that's a 3 halves pi. So that's a 3 over 2 pi. And then from here to here, that is a 4 halves, because this is half, 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 half. So that's 2 pi. Or that's a 4 over 2 pi, right? That's a 4 halves pi. It's the same thing. So I want you to be very familiar with this and this. This I'm not worried about, but this is something that I hope that you can remember. And after that, we're going to know 45 degree. See, this is a 45, right? That's a 45 degree. And here is 90 degree. And here to here, that's 45 plus that. 45 plus a 90, which is 135 degree. And starting from here to here is 180 degree. Okay, I have to keep going. Let me do this. From here to here, it's going to be 180 plus a 45, so it's 225 degree. And from here to here, that's a 270, we know this. And what about from here to here? Then that is 270 plus 45, so it's a 315 degree. And of course, if you go back, that's a 360 degree. So every time you just keep adding, see, you keep adding 45 degree. 45, another 45, another 45, another 45. Okay, so there are 8 of them that makes the full circle. So if you want to use that, so this is pi over 4, that's a quarter. And here's 2 quarters, which 2 quarters, which means 1/2 pi. And here, that's a 3 quarters, right? 3 quarters. And here is a 4 quarters. So that's 4 over 4. 4 over 4, so that's a pi. And so 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, 4/4, 5/4. So that's going to be 5 over 4 pi. And a 6/4, that's that 6/4. So that's a 6 over 4, which is a 3 over 2 pi. And here's a 7/4. So anything from here to here, it's going to be 7 over 4 pi. Of course, if you go back, it's going to be 8 quarters, and that's a 2 pi. Again, so be familiar with this. Pi over 2, or 1/2 pi, quarter pi, and one more. It's a 1/3 pi. So 1/3 of 180 degrees, it's a 60. So that's a 60. Twice of that is 120. One more, that's 180, right? Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't draw that very well. But this is going to be 240. And from here to here is another 60, so it's a 300. Of course, you go back, it's a 360. So 1/3. Let me just do this with 1/3. So this is pi over 3, 1/3. This is 2/3. And this is a 3/3, right? 1/3, 2/3, 3/3. So that's just a pi. And then from here to here, that's a 4/3. And from here to here, that's a 5/3 pi. And of course, if you go back, that's a 6/3, 6/3 pi, which is 2 pi, right? So that means, sorry. All right, so 90 degree, 45 degree, and a 60 degree. Those things you have to be super, super familiar with them, okay? And not only in terms of degree, but also in terms of the radian. So this is the end of this session. We learned the definition or the concept of the radian measurement of an angle. We learned how to do the conversion, and we learned what does co-terminal mean. And we learned this, quarter, fourth, and the 1/3 pi, to be very familiar with that. I think that's a lot already. Okay.